Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to this week's meeting of Essex Business Forum. At this meeting, we have a new visitor, Chris Whittle. Well, Chris, I hope you enjoyed the meeting. A couple of things to mention. When I was here last, which was 2 weeks ago, 2 people actually said please when they asked for their choice. Hasn't happened this week, but we did have Vincent, who congratulated the person who would be cooking the food because it said bacon, white, well done. So thank you for that, Vincent.
Please.
There's no points in it, so you can.
I want it recognised.
Right, let's get on with the meeting.
No recognition.
As usual, I'm here to get you through the agenda. I'm supported by a leadership team. May I ask them to be upstanding and introduce themselves, please?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Terry. I deal with membership and recruitment matters.
Good morning, folks. I am Scott, your meeting secretary, looking after the stats, figures, and of course, the hands and face of our life.
Morning, guys. I'm Ben, education coordinator.
Morning, everybody. Brian, social secretary.
Vincent, I run the membership committee and I'm also the official timekeeper. 60 seconds.
Thank you very much. Please be seated and congratulations on the numbers for today. We are 24 in all. It's excellent. It's nice to see a full house. I don't know whether you were attracted by the speaker for today, but we'll see. Right. As usual, Performance League is first. Scott is first.
Right. Good morning again. Performance League, Chris, for your benefit. Performance League is our measure of contribution from all of the members. Each month it's reset, and we score points doing things as easy as turning up, through to giving and sharing a business, having a pub lunch together to learn more about each other, commenting on the blog, loads of different ways to score loads of different points. With an aim that we score 88 points as a benchmark each month. And so, with just 2 weeks recorded, 4 members already topped 100 points, so we'll go to those members. The first of which is Matt Barry with 117 and 4. 125 points puts Howard Bullock in third. 134 points places John Hammond in second. 213 points, however, mean that Toby stays in lead. Remember, Toby scored 100 bonus points for his guest converting, and that's why he's there. Bigger points. So there we go, first round. You can all see how those points and numbers get made.
Sorry for being
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Right, next is the education presentation, and you over there.
Thank you very much. So we're going to hand straight over to today's speaker. We have none other than our very own timekeeper, Vince.
Good morning, everyone. Vincent here. Give you some hints and tips for business networking success, whether you're at a networking group or whether you're at a networking event or conference. So, your pen's ready. I'm going to test you at the end.
Oh gosh.
So networking, as you know, is a crucial skill for professional success in any industry. Effective networking can lead to new opportunities, new partnerships, and valuable connections. So I'd like to share some hints and tips. Networking event. If you're attending a conference or a business network, an expo, I would say, research the event and its attendees beforehand. If there's a list of attendees online, identify the key people that you would like to make contact with. Everyone will be wearing badges, so they should be easy to find. My badge is here. Sorry about that. Page 2. Be authentic. Authenticity builds trust and fosters lasting relationships. Avoid being overly salesy. Don't pitch. Ask them about their business. and what they do. Listen actively, show genuine interest, and wait until they ask what you do before launching into your pitch. Don't flash your business card just yet. Wait until you or they are ready to move on. It's actually quite an effective strategy if you're really aching to get away from someone. Just give out the card, say, contact me, and move on. Work on your communication skills. Master the art of introducing yourself concisely and confidently. Some call it the elevator pitch. Elevator pitch. I was in a lift the other day, just as an aside, and it was made by Schindler. Schindler's Lifts. Anyway, let's worry for a second. When you're shaking hands with someone, make eye contact, smile, be approachable. Give a long and sweaty handshake, and maintain eye Anyway, follow up. After a networking event, you should have a pile of business cards, probably that thick, or maybe that sort of thick. Depends how thick the cards are as well. Follow up new connections promptly so that you don't forget who you engaged with at the event. Personalise your follow-up messages so that it's specifically for them, not send to all. It's been great meeting you, if they can get in touch. Use their name. Pick out something that you might have discussed so that they know it's you. And also stay in touch regularly to nurture your relationships and demonstrate genuine interest. Give before you receive. Whatever you may think about your BNI experience, boo. If only anyone would do that. It's usually when BNI, boo, isn't it? Give us gain really works, and that's their motto, give us gain. Whatever you say about BNI, I started networking about 22 years ago, and there wasn't any other networking group, so it was just BNI. And it taught me an awful lot about presentation skills, not that it's today, how to find a good referral, and how to network effectively. So it really was a learning curve for me, so I'm forever indebted until I left. Offer advice or resources to the group, this is talking about the group now, without expecting immediate returns. It can be a slow burner, but you have to work on nurturing relationships before they can be confident referring a third party to you. And now in conclusion, you'll be pleased to know, business networking is not just about collecting business cards, it's about building meaningful relationships. Isn't that right, Paul? I'm still in contact with members of my first networking group back in 2002, and I continue to receive and give work from the various groups that I've been associated with over the years. So by defining your objectives, be authentic, nurture relationships, you can unlock endless opportunities in your networking journey. Remember, networking is a marathon, not a sprint. Stay consistent, patient, and proactive. Woo. The one I'm talking to.
Thank you. Thank you. We must all try and remember. Right. Membership matters come up now.
Yeah, thanks very much, Aidan. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Hello. How are you? You all right? Yeah, good, good. Yeah, a few things to deal with today, some more exciting than others, but I guess they're all exciting. The most important one is to welcome finally our member Chris. Oh, yeah, pronounce it. With us down there, the North Corner, listen up. Yeah, good. We've also got a membership application which the committee are dealing with for our friend Andy here. Just waiting on a couple of bits coming back in. We get the tar and the feathers out. Chris will be fine. And then renewal. Renewal of membership is always quite good, especially with someone like this member here, Howard. I was chatting to earlier. I think I'm right into you're one of the original members of EBS, came over from the organisation that we don't mention. So it's great that you're still here, and it's great that you're still going to be just one more year. It's great to see how the renewal. The membership committee will be in touch.
Which I'm a member.
Oh, we were a member.
It's not a member.
Not anymore.
You are taking notes. So much I put into it.
Two other membership renewals. One is our friend Mike, and the other one is Neil. So they'll all be going through the community renewal process. When it is your turn for renewal, you'll get a contact from Mr. Wood with a questionnaire. Please send it back to us, helpful for us, helpful for you. Anyway, that's all for now.
Right. It's been a full morning so far. I'm thinking already. But I'm going to pass the business card box round. Make sure you're representing. Point down to me that my cards aren't in there, so I'll do that for next week. Do the same yourselves. Take cards that you might need in relation to making introductions. Right. With that in mind, we now move on to the 60-second round. Your chance to highlight your business, but only in 60 seconds. And to that end, our timekeeper at the end will make a sound after 50 seconds and after 60 seconds. When you hear the second, if you go as far as that and don't get it into the 60 seconds, sit down, wind it up and sit down. The Oscar winner last week was Neil. He isn't here, the only member who isn't. So Paul has agreed to stand in and award the Oscar at the end of the round. With that in mind then, let's get the round underway. And underway means Paul going first, and he'll be followed by Chris.
Morning, Paul Booth, Chartered Certified Accountants based in Brentwood. It's coming up to the end of the tax year, and also a lot of businesses have their year end as the 31st of March or 5th of April. So it's a good idea to know actually where you are in terms of profit, tax, planning, so that you can think, well, actually, my profit's going to be so-and-so. If I spend an extra £5 grand by the end of the month, I'm going to get these tax savings. It's called being proactive in terms of tax planning. So I'm looking for people and businesses who already have an account, don't really get any sort of tax planning in terms of year-end planning. Please put them my way. Full Booth from Boom & Co. in tax.
Thank you, Paul. Chris, you're next, and you're followed by Shannon.
Good morning, everybody. Chris from Travel Affairs. Really good to be a member at last. Really good to be a member. Things to talk about every week, I suppose, is what's most popular. And having a quick word with Terry before the meeting. What I didn't know was that Southend Airport is starting to reopen again with flights, with EasyJet predominantly, but covering most of Europe again. So particularly Spain, Portugal, Amsterdam, but they're actually picking up again, which is really good to see. It is a lovely airport. If you're around that way, if you live around Southend, hopefully by the end of this year, you'll start to see openings back up again. But yeah, anything we need, just give me a call. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Chris. Shannon, you're followed by Toby.
Hi everyone, Shannon from Downton Mortgages and Financial Services. Today I'm going to talk to you about insurance, and I'm going to share a client story. Basically, I had a client that I was working with that she's a contractor, so she doesn't get any employee benefits or sick pay or anything like that. We were looking at her insurance to cover her mortgage, so life insurance, but I was also recommending income protection and critical illness cover. She just kept dragging her feet, never put any cover in place, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And because she's a contractor, and she's also the breadwinner because her husband is in between jobs, she has to continue working through her treatment. So if she had some critical illness cover or income protection, she would have been able to take some time off work and focus on her recovery rather than having to work through it. So if you are thinking about getting insurance, especially if you're self-employed, I would recommend that you either speak to myself or to Howard to put some coverage in place, because it's important that everyone has the right protection. Thank you.
Shannon. Toby, you're next, and you're followed by Brian.
Morning everybody, Chris, I'm a personal business mentor and motivational specialist. I was going to do a testimonial this morning from Matt Barry, but he's not here, so I bother. So instead I'm going to do a couple of testimonials that I got. Both relating to motivational maps, one for a team, one for individuals. Toby introduced me to the concept of motivational mapping and we got all of our staff mapped. The process was in-depth but very straightforward and streamlined. It gave us tangible data from an intangible concept to allow us to take positive action within the team. From being a cynic, I'm now a believer. Great process, great advice, and a roadmap for genuine change in our business. And then another one from an individual's point of view. I went through my motivational map with Toby, and it was invaluable in helping me clarify what was important to me and what I needed at a pivotal time in my career. He helped me think through different scenarios and was supportive and responsive throughout the process. I wouldn't hesitate in recommending Toby, his expertise, and the insight the motivational maps can give. So that's me. So I'm going to come.
Thank you, Toby. Brian, followed by James.
Good morning everybody, Brian, hypnotherapist, pilgrim, hypnotherapy. It's always my intention to improve the quality of life of all my customers, clients rather, whatever their problem. You probably know I have a stop smoking program and it comes with a 12 months guarantee. I'm not aware of any other hypnotherapist that has the confidence to offer this. Hypnosis can help with a variety of things, including anxiety, panic attacks, phobias, public speaking, taking exams and tests. All these can be helped and a lot more. So what I'm looking for this week is people that might fall into that category, and I do offer a free initial consultation. There's any obligation to take it further for those clients who want it, except for smoking. Thank you. That's Brian Pater, hypnotherapist, pilgrim therapy, and help is just all the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. James, you're followed by Paul Curry.
Well, I'm James from Brentwood Insurance. Sorry, I thought I had a couple of minutes yet, Brian. Last week I spoke about property owners and one as a petrol station and a motor trader, which links onto wheels. So knowing companies that have got 3 vehicles or more, can be cars, can be vans, can be cars and vans, preferably not Range Rovers because I have to do the plane 3 weeks later when they're halfway to history. Yeah, so 3 vehicles or more, fleet insurance, it's a better way of insuring them because you've got a little bit more flexibility over the drivers, the discounts and everything else. So yeah, that's wheels. Preachy gave blood a week, and I hate needles, petrified of the things. So I chat, and the woman was talking to me to keep my mind off it, and she was saying that they are really struggling at the moment on certain blood groups. So if you can, and not everyone can, please do, because they are desperate at the moment. So sorry, I'm preachy, but if you wanted blood in an accident, you might have to get started. Sorry?
Right, excellent. Give blood. James, thanks. Paul, you're next, followed by Mike.
Hello, I'm Paul from Solitaire Plumbing and Heating. I haven't really done much plumbing this week, I'll be honest. Thursday, after coming here, I had a one-to-one Leanne, that went really well. Went to my brother's house, it was his birthday. We had far too much to drink. Woke up Friday with a hangover. We ended up driving to York. We've done 2 nights in York, a night in Durham and a night in Bamberg. We went to Holy Island, which is looked after the St. Aidan.
It is, yes, where I got my name from.
Then we had a 6.5 hour drive home on Tuesday. Then I've done a day's worth of training with Worcester on Wednesday. Training is just constant for a plumber, especially. Well, I suppose with everyone, but it's just constant. We worked it out as a company. We spend over £40,000 on training. It's just But we've got 440 reviews on over 440 reviews on CheckTrade, Which, Google as well. So yeah, big enough to trust, small enough to care. Thank you.
Southerners, it's Bamberg. Right, let's move on. And Paul, thanks for that. Mike, you're next, and you're followed by Vincent.
Morning everyone, Mike from Black Water Media, providing video, photography and drone content to businesses and events. So last week I spoke about drone survey work, which comes in really handy for filling up the calendar, but it's not the most creative side of what I do. This week I'm kind of looking for the opposite. I watched a film called The Outfit earlier this week, which is about a British suit maker caught up in an American sort of gangster situation in the 60s. Really good film, well worth a watch. But it's got some really good scenes showing him sort of cutting up the materials, crafting and creating men's suits, and it really focuses in on the skill and care that goes into that type of craft. And for me, projects like that are some of the most enjoyable to be involved in, because I get to show viewers all the magic that goes on behind the scenes in these handcrafted products, and the love that the craftsmen have and they put into it as well. And that works really well on their websites because it shows why such products demand a higher price and why custom-made products take extra time and are worth the extra cost to make. So whether it's cabinet makers, florists, engineering workshops, tack makers, luthiers, jewellers, any of the other countless highly skilled trades, if you know anyone whose work and passion for their work needs highlighting, you can pass them on to Mike at Black Multimedia. Thank you.
Vincent, you're next and you're followed by Ben.
Morning everyone, Vincent from Speedprint. We're printers based in Ganshill Village. Speedprint, we're the only printing company that gives you a Vince. You're not just a customer reference number to us. Every client, whatever their size business is, benefits from the Speedprint, 5-star preferred blue chip executive priority service. You all get that. And what that means is you get a Vince, and a Vince can answer any questions you have about the job. A Vince sees your job through from start to finish. A Vince checks your artwork to make sure it's print ready, and the fonts are correct, the positioning and the colour conforms. If the completed job isn't up to Vince's standards, it gets reprinted without you even knowing it. So we've got the experience, the knowledge and the enthusiasm, and we're filled with the desire to deliver the highest quality goods every time. Why? Because that's how we built our business over the years, with care, consistency and attention to detail. Nice work. You think it, we ink it.
Ben, you're next and you're followed by Stuart.
Good morning, guys. Ben Golding from Utility Warehouse, and help people to save money on their essential household utilities. Now, earlier this week we had a very nice mention on GMTV when they were saying by bundling your services you were going to save a packet. And because of that, it led to a conversation with a family that thought they were on a very good deal. They were with Octopus for their energy, BT for their broadband, and HomeServe for their boiler cover. However, after a quick half an hour chat with me, I managed to save them £130 a month and throw in a mobile SIM for their daughter. So that's going to make a massive difference. So this week I'm looking for people you know who may think they're on a very good deal, but are open to have a chat to see if they can help save money with the UK's cheapest, most trusted and most recommended utility company. Ben Golding, Utility Warehouse.
Thank you, Ben. Stuart, you're next and you're followed by Andy.
Good morning everybody, Stuart from Military Networks. We help businesses with telecommunications and internet services. Yesterday I had the pleasure of visiting Chigwell Riding Trust, which is a small riding school for people with special needs. They called us in because they're looking to save some money. They've been approached by BT. They are running a very old style of via telephone system, which still runs on ISDN. ISDN services, all copper services are coming to an end, and they know that they need to move on to an internet-based system. Luckily for them, their internet that they've got at the moment is really good, so we don't need to touch that. We're quite happy with their internet service. But we're going to help them migrate from their ISDN and their copper-based phone system over to a voice-over internet phone system. Because of their situation, obviously money is very tight. So in doing that, we're also actually going to be reducing their monthly expenditure as well. So if you know any businesses or any other charities that are looking for some help with their existing telephony, please come in touch with me at Stuart at Military Networks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stuart. Andy, you're next and you're followed by Nick.
I'm Andy from Guardian Hygiene Services. Just some of the sites that I've been to this week and just show the range that I go to. So the primary school with a company at the moment, but just not getting the service. We've been brought over by the council for them, just won't get the service. Been to a care home, and again, the independent care homes didn't really know what they needed to do, were doing more than they needed to do. So I went in there and just gave them some advice in there. And then a random one was a data physics company, and they were testing their equipment in a pond within the unit there. And a new one from here, I've got going on brain research. where does it lie? It's a pond within a warehouse, and it's dirty and stinky, and where does that fall in terms of Legionella compliance? So we're going to do some research in there and go back to the customer. So it just shows the amount of sites, any site that you've got, site contacts, feel free to get in touch and advise them from there.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you. Nick, you're next.
Yeah, good morning. My name's Nick. As you all know, I'm a structural engineer. I provide a structural design service for homeowners. So just a few words about that. Most of my customers want to do something fairly straightforward, like take a wall down. Some customers want to be a little more adventurous. They want to build an extension, perhaps, or even a loft conversion. So I provide all the structural design details that they might need. They and their building might need to do just that. So that's what I do. That's some of what I do. I haven't got time, 60 seconds, to go into everything I do. More next week. My name's Nick. I'm a structural engineer.
Thank you. Dan, you're next, and you're followed by Terry.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Dave from Brentwood. We're NRC, ERC registered electricians based in Brentwood. Some of the services we offer, we install extra lights, extra sockets, change the tube units, provide EV chargers, carry out rewires. That can be just a rewire of an existing property or brand new properties. We also carry out fault finding as well. So if you've got a light tripping or flickering or whatever, we can sort of transport that for you as well. So one of the best referrals for me is actually testing, because it leads on to extra work. This can be residential or commercial. So we will inspect the whole system, we'll give you a certificate for it, and the certificate will identify any issues before they become a problem. So what I'm looking for is landlords, facilities managers in commercial properties, letting agents or people who are looking to move house, because we can tell them if there's any problems before they move in. So any electrical work or testing, please give me a call to Dave and Mercury Electrical.
Thank you, Dave. Terry, you're next, and you're followed by Leanne.
Thanks very much, Aidan. Good morning, everybody. Terry Maiden from CM Law. For the benefit of Chris, I sue people, I sue anyone for anything. Just thought I'd tell you about this week. I had a client who was very seriously injured on a building site, very bad injury to his leg. 3 years ago, almost to the day. I took on the claim and got on with it, and he had various offers from the insurance company. Initially, they offered him 25 grand. He's not got any employment, he's on his uppers, so he was tempted to take it. I made sure he didn't. We had a settlement agreement this week in which the insurers offered £125,000. Again, I had to stamp him down, make sure he didn't take that. We settled his case at the end of one day on a settlement meeting for £640,000. That's what he should have got, that's the right amount for his injuries. He's got life-changing injuries, and it's really important that people who have got those injuries come to someone like me, because otherwise the insurance companies will rip them off and pay them less than they're entitled to. I'm delighted to say I'm going to be referring him hopefully to Howard, and Howard's going to hopefully make sure the money doesn't slip through his fingers. Terry Maiden, CM Law.
Thank you, Terry. Leanne, you're next, and you're followed by John.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Leanne, interior designer, and this week I was contacted by a building company who are doing 15 houses, and they are at the point of choosing kitchens and bathrooms. So he needed help, and it's like, really? Thankfully this week I had cleared in my diary, so I was quite quiet, and I was able to help him put together, choose kitchen cupboards, worktops, backsplashes, handles, and taps and everything. So if you do know somebody that's about to renovate, please don't let them leave it to the last minute. Thankfully I was able to help him, but yeah, if you know anyone that's doing any renovation, put them in touch with me and I can help them get it done.
Thank you very much, Leanne. John, you're next, and you're followed by Blake.
Good morning, everybody. I'm John Hammond from JMH Technology. We are electronic security specialists. This week I want to talk about testing of fire alarms and emergency lighting. Everyone's meant to have it tested, and they get people in there to have it tested, and it says the system's been tested, it's working. It doesn't say it's compliant, and they've been called out numerous times. We're working with a school trust where they've had their emergency lighting tested, and the people go in during the day with their light meters and everything else and test to make sure the lights work. It's brilliant. There's so much daylight out there. How do you know it works? We went in at night and tested their school, and the school is totally non-compliant. And now they're questioning all the other schools because they've all had their emergency lighting testing during the day. And you can't do it. It's just physically impossible. So if you want it done right, and want a recommendation on whether it's compliant or non-compliant, we can do that for you. That's John Hammond from Germany Technology, applying technology to security.
Thank you, John. Blake, you're next and you're followed by Howard.
Hello everyone, Blake from Alive, your airsoft and camping, outdoor, everything supplier. I want a bit of good news this week. We've started building the shop. Yay. Me and John are trying to do it ourselves, keep the costs low, so working during the day and then doing 2 hours an evening trying to build a shop, but we're getting there. Also this week, we've brought on board Milestone Camping. So we can now supply everything from tents, Milestone tents, Milestone camping stoves, camping tables, chairs, sleeping bags, floor mats, everything. And we're also bringing on Wayfarer, who is a ration pack supplier for DOV, military, camping, everything outdoors. So hopefully by the end of next week we'll have them on board. So they're to supply ration packs for which Scott's son hopefully will be using for DOV and will be using hopefully for July when we go to Drake's Island. So yeah, Blake from our home.
Thank you, Blake. Howard, you're next and you're followed by Scott.
Good morning. Howard Wood from Clear Financial Advice. We're independent financial advice based in Billericay. It's always nice to stand on the shoulders of giants, but in the answer to that, you can stand on the shoulders of Paul Booth here and talk about the end of the tax year, which is only 2 weeks away. There were some really nice allowances that will expire on the 5th of April. So, for example, ISAs, the maximum you can pay into an ISA this tax year is 20k. That's right. And they're really nice and tax efficient. Even more tax efficient are pensions. So the maximum you can pay into a pension is
60k plus 3 years unused relief.
yes. So that means you pay up to £180,000 into a pension this tax year. So if you're running a business, you've got too much cash in the pension.
240.
Sorry?
240.
No, this tax year. Sorry, thank you. So if you've got a business that you've got excess cash that you'd like to get out, the company can pay that pension money into a pension and get corporation tax relief for you. So if you know anyone in that position, then please pass it my way. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Scott, you're next and you're followed by Tina.
Good morning everyone, Scott from SEO. We create websites of all shapes and sizes. However, we're so chock-a-block busy at the minute, I thought I'd just take the moment and remind you about the service called Google Alerts that you should all be using for yourselves. It's a free service. Sign up and plug in some keywords that Google will then track for you and alert and notify you when it sees new things. So you should be tracking your company name to find out where people are talking about you online, if it's anything positive or negative. You should potentially put in your competitors' names so that you can see when they're being talked about and what they're releasing, and which new case studies they have released. You should put in the names of your key staff and employees to see what shit they get up to. I found one of my employees, he was uncovered as a paedophile and various other things. So it's really useful as a tool to look at. So Google Alerts, ask me more if you want to know anything.
Thank you very much, Scott. Tina, you're next and you're followed by Jay.
Good morning everybody, my name's Kate and our company's called Liberty Executive Services, offer secretarial and admin services. Summer is coming and people are going to start going away, but they're dreading going away because they don't want to shut their office down. That's where I can help you. I can take your calls, book in appointments, arrange meetings for you for when you come back. So if you know anybody that's going away, that's dreading it because they think they're going to lose new clients or there's something urgent that they're waiting for, pass them my details because I'll be happy to help. That's me, Tina, Liberty Executive Services. I'm not 9 to 5 and stuff.
Have you finished?
I have.
Jay.
Good morning everybody, Jade Mannion here from the English Green Tea Company. We're about gifts and treats and hampers and we send them out for you. But please remember I also do public speaking on a number of topics to suit the occasion, sometimes about being a TikTok creator or influencer. I had a moment this week, I was booked to speak at the Excel in London about being a TikTok influencer for Monday. and it's been arranged for 6 months, and I've been liaising with them. My invoice said about speaking at Excel on Monday, And Sunday night, 11 p.m, I thought I'd check if they'd spelt my name right in the electronic programme, because last year they spelt it wrong. And I went in and saw I was speaking at the NEC Birmingham. Small heart attack, got there with minutes to spare. They had never told me.
This is Calcutta Hall. Here on Thursday. Aidan Squire from TM Law. Terry and I are often confronted with advising on restrictive covenants in contracts of employment, either on behalf of employers or employees. The courts have the power to throw out a restrictive covenant if it does not legitimately protect the company's business. There should be some geographical limit, a few miles, several miles, a time limit, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or a specific competitor for the clause to be successful. So we can advise employees on whether they are bound, and we can obviously help employers get it drafted right in the first place. That's Aidan Squire from TM Law. And that is the end of the members' contributions. So that simply leaves us with Chris to give us 60 seconds.
Good morning, I'm Chris from CAW Building Services. We carry out domestic extensions, renovations, any sort of internal alterations, external alterations, anything on those sort of lines. This week we've been over in Fleshy finishing up on an extension that we've been doing and full house renovation. Included underfloor heating throughout, re-screening, which obviously means raising up door heights and things like that. And also starting stripping down and re-roofing an extension, an old extension that we've come across in my local village, which is Ford End. And then I've got to go over to the restaurant this afternoon and look at more works they want, which are internal, and that's the Hub Farm Shop, the restaurant in Ford End again. Always on the lookout for sort of similar works along those lines, so if you know anyone, give us a shout. That's Chris at CAW Building Services. No worries.
Excellent. Right, that is the end of the 60-second round. Paul, over to you for the award of the Oscar.
Yeah, there's a very good 60 seconds. Notable mentions to Brian, Terry, Mike and Howard. There can be only one winner. Vincent, well done. You're in second place. And seat goes to Stuart. So well done, Stuart.
Right, excellent. Thanks for that, Paul. Thanks for that, everybody. Let's move forward. Meeting secretary's report is next. Scott.
Quick totting up of maths and things, just really to bring you up to speed. So far this month we have recorded £30,000 worth of business. We're going to add another 10 to that today, so far the numbers are good. Referral wise, we have 20 fresh ones this morning on top of the 15 that we have already recorded so far this month. So those numbers are good. It's just an idea, especially for our guest Chris, how it kind of works and the sort of thing that happens here on a monthly basis.
Thank you, Scott. Jane, what's happening at the end of the meeting?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me, Aidan. So at the end of the meeting, we have the monthly synergy meeting. So anybody is welcome to stay after. It usually only lasts about 40-45 minutes. And today's topic is to do with what to do when something negative happens to your business. It's not possible to get through your business life without hurdles occurring. And we might have some tips and strategies to share with each other of how we overcame those, whether they were little blips or whether they were dirty, great, big ones. And I've been taken to court twice, by the way, so we can discuss that.
Jane.
Thank you.
That now brings us round to a 10-minute presentation. And I will hand you over to Ben.
Okay, so before I introduce today's 10-minute speaker, give you an update for the next upcoming weeks for speakers. So, moving on to the 28th of March, Blake will be doing the 10 minutes, and Scott, we've got you down to do the slot for that one. And then moving on to April. The first couple of weeks on the April the 4th, Vince will be doing the 10 minutes. And I'll be doing the education slot that day. On the 11th of April, John, we've got doing the 10 minutes, and Toby will be providing the education slot. On the 18th of April, we don't have a 10-minute speaker, we don't have an education slot because we have a very special guest coming down to do a presentation for you. Jane will keep us updated with that because I can't remember the guy's name. So,
do you want to know it? It's James Barr, and his company is an IT specialist, but this is something fascinating. He's a world expert on the new scams that are out to get us, particularly electronic ones. And he knows about phishing and smishing and words that we've never heard of before. And I went to his talk, it blew me away, and he's kindly agreed to come and speak to us.
You know he's coming here?
Yes.
Yeah.
I even sent him a picture of the gate.
No, so that's on the 18th. But when it is your turn to do 10 minutes, please go to the website, download the bio sheet and get it to me a day or two beforehand. If you can't do your 10 minutes or your ed slot for whatever reason, please let me know as soon as possible. We'll do our best to try and swap things around. Just try and remember that it is 8 minutes for your presentation and to allow 2 minutes for questions. And please don't forget a speaker's prize. That said, today we obviously have Mr. Aidan Squire from Quality HR and TM Law, of which he is the director at Quality HR and a consultant with TM Law. Nature of his business is law and soliciting. It's okay. And you're based in Essex and around East London. So, a couple of things about Aidan. So, a frightening incident was waking up from a dream with me and telling him that he'd forgotten to prepare his 10 minutes there. So, favourite band and why? Now, I've got to get this right, hang on. Bobby Boris Pickett and the Crypt Kickers 5. Did I get that right?
Bobby Boris Pickett and the Crypt Kicker 5, yes.
Fantastic. And why do you think? Now, does anyone know what song they did? Monster Mash. There you go, give us a little demonstration. No. Something that Aidan and worse than others is being able to do anything that he can't do. And finally, satisfying achievement, not answering the fourth question. So, please welcome Aidan Squire.
I'll sit down to address you, I hope you don't mind. Right, this is the first time I've used my 10-minute presentation to talk about wills and probate. In my 60 seconds, I bang on about the importance of making a will today. And what I've done is I've put together a couple of case studies that will help me more accurately describe the issues that might confront someone who fails to make a will, or more importantly, confronts the beneficiaries. This bird that he's gone. Okay. Case study number 1. This is a case of a woman who actually made a will. She has some assets out of the jurisdiction of England and Wales, and the will is a homemade will, which can often create as many or more problems as not making a will at all. So, she has some assets in the Isle of Man, which she describes in her will as her British estate. The will consists of a series of specific gifts with no residuary estate at all. And one of the gifts is a house worth 1.8 million with a mortgage of £750,000 on it. The consequences of this is the executors will first of all have to go to court to get a ruling as to whether the property in the Isle of Man is covered by this will. The individual beneficiaries, because there's no residuary estate, the individual beneficiaries will have to pay off any debts attaching to their gift and also pay a proportion of the inheritance tax that relates to the gift. The beneficiary of the house is not a relative. In order to get a grant of probate, the tax has to be paid and therefore collected from the beneficiaries. And as there's no residuary estate that would normally bear the inheritance tax, her bill would come to £250,000 in advance for the submission of the homemade will for a grant of probate. And if the grant of probate isn't made, isn't granted, then the intestacy rules will apply. She's not a relative and she wouldn't be entitled to anything at all. So, a properly drawn will would have created a residue available to bear the tax. It would have been clear as to the jurisdiction, and it would not have run the risk of being rejected by the probate registry. The lawyer's fees, incidentally, for taking this matter to probate currently are £80,000. That's case study 1. Case study 2, a bit more usual. Case of a man, he's got a partner, he's got a 4-year-old child. There's a house in joint names with himself and his partner, a mortgage with life insurance that will cover it, but it's not being designated to cover that mortgage specifically. The parties are not married, and despite the fact they have a child and a house, neither have made wills. Guess what happens next? The man dies. His partner will fortunately get the house because she's a beneficial joint owner, and it will be transferred to her, but otherwise she'd have no rights whatsoever to any of his estate. The mortgage will remain her obligation. The life insurances and other monies will be distributed in accordance with the intestacy rules. And who is the beneficiary under the intestacy rules? It's the 4-year-old child. And application will have to be made on that child's behalf. It can't be made by the mother, of course, because she has a contrary interest. Both the partner and the grandparents are quite happy for the surviving partner to take the assets, pay off the mortgage, look after the child. But unfortunately, that doesn't take into account necessarily all of the child's best interests. So, what will there have to be again? There'll have to be an application to court, which will take time and take money. So we have the following scenario as a result of neither of them making a will. The child must be separately represented, as he's the person entitled to the whole estate. The partner, they're sometimes called common law wives, quite erroneously, she has no rights or entitlement whatsoever. Any arrangements envisaged by the parties have to be approved by the court, as the child has the basic entitlement to the whole of the estate. And what will undoubtedly involve some arrangements to protect his interest, even if the monies are used for his benefit by his mother. And it will have to be made available to him when he gets to the age of 18. Going to court will be expensive, time-consuming, and really against the whittle away at the value of the estate and the money that's available. A properly drawn will would obviously have represented the two partners' wishes and would make it easier for the estate to be administered without all the additional costs that will undoubtedly be incurred in going to court. That's it. Any questions?
guess if you find yourself in that situation before a person's passed away and you realise that you've got a bit of a crappy background, it's not worth trying to fix that, but potentially just cheaper to bin it and start again properly, right?
Well, but if somebody's dead, you can't.
Yeah, but if beforehand you realise what you've got
Yes,
really
absolutely.
inadequate.
Yes. What you've got to be just careful about is making sure that, particularly where there's two parties involved, that you just sort out what you actually need, and you make sure it happens, rather than something imposed by someone else that will be expensive to reach a conclusion.
I think I am constantly too. I've got a 9-year-old daughter living with me by court order. So this is something I do need to get in place. Because I wouldn't know how the mother would get any of my estate, or obviously it's going down to my daughter. But with how does the court order work in terms of the will as such?
If somebody dies without a will and therefore has not made the provision that would stop that from happening, what the court would have to do is look at the interest of the child and say, right, in theory, the child should have all of this money. The child's only 4, how are we going to deal with this? And so the court would have to take into account the medium-term requirements of the child. So the desires of the mother would be taken into account to enable her to bring the child up. But what would, undoubtedly, they wouldn't get the result they would have got if the two partners had put their heads together and decided what they want to do, because the court would have to ultimately safeguard the child's interest for when he got to the age of 18.
Yeah.
But make a will.
These, these little booklets that come through the door once a month, invariably they advertise all kinds of trades and professionals. There's always a will writer in there. Should these people be avoided? Do they know as much as you do, for example, Aidan?
Sometimes. The problem with will writers is the method. If you are part of a will writing business, you are really the person who comes and sees you is not the person who draws the will. He will get the information, he or she will get the information, send it off, and it will be prepared somewhere else. And some of them are fine, some of them are not. You've got no way of really knowing.
Can I just add something else to that? The will writing people won't just do your will, like Aidan would, for example. They'll sell you a whole package. They'll charge you for storage. They'll charge you for this. They'll charge you for that. There's loads. They'll start off with a low figure, but by the time you build it up, they really are quite expensive. So I would say, why go for will writing? Go just for.
I think that is the other thing. That when they say, well, we'll do a basic will for 120 quid, and then if there are any trustee provisions, that's 50 quid. And if there's anything to do with this, and if you want to specify how you want to be buried, and suddenly you will find that that's going to happen. We will quote a price, and let you know the sort of things in general terms that would increase that price, but we'll let you know. But normally, whatever we quote, we'll charge for it.
What's the most unusual request you would say you've heard in a will, or someone totally unexpected, such as an ex-Playboy bunny or something?
You notice he always does this. I tell you what, it was one unusual thing. It was a lady, I was drawing her will, and you normally just say, do you want to be buried or cremated? And she put in, I want to have my ashes burnt, and then I want my ashes, I want to be cremated, and I want my ashes to be thrown over water underneath a willow tree somewhere near, I think it was Flatford Mill, and there was a location where she wanted, and it was quite, that was quite bizarre. Of course, the executors, and this is another thing to remember, what you want doing when you die with your body is a direction only. So the executors can look at it and say, oh,
So my
understanding is that the devil is in the detail. Many of you won't know that Aidan's actually helping our family sort out a will for a relative at the moment. And it can get quite complex, and he's even visited the relative who's housebound, which is very good of him, especially as he's a hoarder. Well done for dealing with that. But my mother died 44 years ago, so obviously I was only 6 at the time, you understand. And she left my brother and I £28,000, and which she would have been thrilled to have done so. But because of bad wording in the will, which Barclays Bank helped to oversee, we ended up with £500 each. And she would have been horrified at that. And it all went to the people sorting out the mess in the will. And the particular mess was, she said, I leave to my son and daughter £28,000 to share. Michael, my brother, and I are adopted. And so apparently they put my son, Michael, Morris, and named us, all of that would have been avoided. So the devil is in the detail. So thank you for being on top of the detail for our family now.
And that actually highlights an important point. And most legal work is like this. We can guide, we can tell you what we can do, and we can produce stuff for you in draft for you to look at. But the trick is, you've got to make sure it does what you expect or want. And you shouldn't be frightened to say, what's this? I don't understand this. We actually welcome that, because at the end of the day, we've got to carry our client with us, and we've got to make this thing. Well, be satisfied with what we're doing for them. It's often is complicated language-wise. Howard, last one.
When someone wants their ashes scattered, countryside or around the sea, do you always specify in the will that the executors or the beneficiaries check which way the wind is blowing?
What we can do, it is an expense of the estate for the person to travel to Timbuktu and scatter them whichever way. But yeah, that has happened actually. Anyway. Right,
thank you very much, everybody. You relax. I'll stand here and just say, most important part of the meeting is the 60 seconds, is the testimonials and referrals round, not 60 seconds. So let's start off in multi-caller travel round, and Aidan, I'll do the round for us today.
Yeah, well done. And welcome to visit expert thank you. Attended the B2B a couple of weeks ago, and 3 thank you monies for members.
Aidan, that's your best yet. I wouldn't say very much about that. Well, that's for you for some contract work.
Yeah.
I think so. In a couple of weeks I'll need some business cards from you and
Thank you for that, Aidan. Knocked a couple of wheels up past a few years ago.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed now, it's all good. Yes, so thank you for your presentation. Thank you, Mr. Excellent. We're going to go and have a look at a job in Malden on Monday to do some network cabling and talk to them about their telephones and Wi-Fi, things like that. And it turned out they needed quite a lot of electrical work doing as well. So I said, I know, man. I'm in touch with Dave. They went out to go and see him yesterday. So that's the process and under the top.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good to meet you. I'm chatting about this. Good, excellent bits. We've just got to thank you for the money to mail actually yesterday that the public
Can you tell us how wonderful we are? Or...
Absolutely fantastic.
Well, welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
It'd be nice to support.
So far, so good.
Brilliant. Smart wins. Great. I have a referral for Paul. My trusty accounting for attends my end of year. Thank you. Staying with the accounting.
Yeah, well, right. Can't emphasise enough how important it is. Just get the will done, put it away, and then forget it. You don't need to worry about it. A lot of people won't do it because they're worried, oh, if I do it, it'll bring down that money.
Once you do it, you'll never die.
These horror stories, those two you told me today, they're the tip of the iceberg, right? They're the most extreme ones, on a small mundane level, every day. Just do it. Lots of Chris, wait to see what about you again. And sort of guess, the one-to-one with James, that's very interesting. So a bit more about other businesses and what to look out for. One for the Nick Cook. Spoke to that, I'll get the time to get in touch with you.
Interesting.
It was shocking, very interesting. One for Howard, I mentioned about, I'll make sure he comes to see you, in fact, I'll drive him over myself. To invest in 640,000 or whatever proportion of it.
Okay, I'll definitely be in touch in terms of that as well, maybe for the end. I'm not a new boy anymore, Chris is a new boy, so have we told you about the initiation karaoke yet? Just as my third week, and already I'm going to have a call for a one-to-one in terms of subcontracting some work. Jane, I spoke to you earlier about a list of contacts and hotels, etc. Obviously, available. So this just shows that obviously in a few weeks we had connections and people really help us. So really good. And I'll see you next week.
Aidan, I know you're trying to help me, but I've got stuck on as a father. I've got to sign anything with words longer than 2 syllables. So I'm working on it, I promise you.
Don't keep all the water.
Exactly. Quick referral for Dave. Catch up at the end, Dave, just a quick chat.
Yeah.
That one's for Paul, we spoke about last week. I spoke to Jim on this one for that age.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good. See you next week.
Chris, yeah. Great to meet you. Did my room. I need to come to you and get it updated when I buy the house. I've got a.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, we never got out of business.
No.
A one-to-one with Shannon, but it's car or something.
2 for 1.
Yeah. I thank you for Scott. Some extra bits.
Oh, yes.
And you can all get excited about 10 minutes next week.
Great presentation, thank you as always. Story for you. So I sent her an email about Emma's fundraising for the race line, and her tutors were talking about how to raise awareness and learn from a business venture. That's what this thing is. And they said, what you need to do is you need to go and find some websites where you can get sponsors from local Essex businesses, something like essexbusinessforum.com or. And then they said, you know, that's my dad's business. You know he's the director. You see me in? The following day, I've had an application for membership or an application to come as a guest from the school that she's at. They want to come and take the event slot. So there we go. Just how these things work. It's fun, isn't it? Thank you for the monies for Nick, for Matt, and for Aidan for small bits and renewals coming through. Andy, I'm doing a job for a large waste management company down in Tilbury Docks. Might be something that we can work with. I'll happily do an intro for you there. James, possibly your tourist referral of the year to enable a load of old farts to play with power tools.
Just the thing was like you.
Referral for that.
Job done. Thank you very much.
Been in 10 minutes, obviously you sorted my will out and obviously helped me out with lots of things on you when Mum passed away and managed to sort out what I'm doing with my ashes as well, aren't they? Going up in the fireworks, we let off, so I go out with a bang. So it's got to be done. But thank you for all your help and support that you've given us.
Just remember your executors can say that.
I'm going to make sure they bloody do it. Had a couple of one-to-ones, had a good one-to-one with Vince. Nodded there as well. Actually, let's just go to anything. So I've got one-to-one Saturday. I'm winning now with Mike, James, and till Paul. There. So I've got I'm putting it in early because I'm not here next week because So,
Yeah.
I'm just hoping he sorted out his will before he yeah. I've got a fellow there for Mike, and what we're talking about the Mersey Island show for their drones, and finally one for Shannon there as well, the contact that we were talking about earlier. Yeah, and so we'll see you next week. We'll see you the week after.
Welcome, Chris, Aidan. Thank you very much. It was really good. I think we're going to catch up afterwards.
Okay.
10-15 minutes. Ben, I'll send over some ideas for attracting and stuff. That's all. Yeah. No, that's it from me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Really good 10 minutes. I'm going to be changing or updating my room eventually, so we can get that sorted. Got my mum and family and everything. I'm still trying my sister as well because she picked up about she needs her sorted. So I keep pushing your card underneath her nose. Good 10 minutes there, Vince?
It's not.
It's not, yeah. But it's only like 10 minutes actually. Welcome, Chris. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you'll be back. And I'll see you all next week. Thanks for having me again today. Always a lovely group and always a great meeting. I had a wonderful week. And yeah, look forward to the next time I'm here. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, great 10 minutes. That's what I was going to ask. Could you put a financial incentive in there to do what you wish to do? So if they didn't do it, they got left to the charity.
Well, we'll work on that.
You didn't say
Start a charity.
Thank you for the money for getting repair of Island Care originally. So that's be down to you now, I suppose. And thank you for the money for Stuart for NWES. Okay. Another gift that keeps giving. Yeah. And we've got one from the as well. Excellent meeting. Great. Thanks, Scott.
And fantastic 10 minutes. Welcome, Chris. What I love about this meeting is that we give genuine referrals that we want to give, not just because we thought about it, we give them. And I think you'll find that you will be in quite a lot of demand here. It was interesting your 60 seconds, Scott, because I've got various Google alerts set up, and I've got one this week for Toby Acton for lost male dog in Acton, 2-year-old male beagle missing in Acton called Toby. Oh no! There you go. Referral for James for somebody who's looking for PIs, having trouble getting it. And I went to the expo last week and saw Stuart and Brett and Matt and his team, and I sent emails to everybody as soon as I got home. Not everybody, but everybody that I contacted with. So,
Awesome.
thank you. Yeah. No, she was in the wrong place.
Your presentation, Aidan, you don't always judge how interesting a presentation is by the number of questions it generates. And I think if you hadn't stopped us, we'd still be asking questions. Welcome, Chris. James, I'm surprised you got this phobia about needles. I can help you with that. You're just a little
Well done, Ed. Fantastic presentation, and also 2 minutes. Really enjoyed that one. I actually had a call from Colin O'Connor this week. There you go. Just going to say, it was about a drone survey, which I mentioned last week, which makes me think that he might actually watch the video. So, hi to Colin and so. Thanks to the money to Matt Barry. If you could just run that over. And a referral to Ben, my cousin who lives in the Malden Dungeon. I think they've just got electricity, so it might be after-school services.
That was great, Aidan. Yes, really interesting. Lots of questions. You've made me think we've got a property in Cyprus that's very troubled, and we're in a fight with the government over there. Can we leave it to somebody we hate?
Unfortunately, you'll have to go to a cypress law to do that as well, so I can't even get involved in
Right.
that.
And well done for those good reminders, Vincent, starting us off. Henry Maylin, one-to-one. That was really interesting, thank you. Paul Corrigan, a sump pump issue. I even brought him photographs to show it. It's not quite working properly, thank you, dear. And then, sadly, Neil's not here because I've got 3 for him, but I will contact Geneva, because he told us he wanted to go abroad, for 50 people for 1 day. Messe, in the Messe in Berlin, 7 days catering for 150 people. And Geneva again, for 1 day, 15,000 people. Do you think he'll like this? I'm not so sure. Paul, we must, if Roger comes to a meeting, he actually works at the Playboy Club, so you can have a nice conversation about Bunny Girls. Ask him about Bunny Sandra in particular.
This raises so many questions.
Yes. Still knows her tale. And finally, Blake, I've come up with an idea for your social media pickup, which keeps getting banned, and remind me to chat with you afterwards. Thank you, everybody.
Great meeting, everybody. I had a one-to-one with Paul last week, and I also asked Paul to come around and check my boiler because we had it serviced the other day, and they gave us a long list of what was wrong with it. So Paul sent someone around and they said, I don't know what they're talking about. So if you get a list, speak to Paul and he checks it out for you. Great end-slot fence and great 10 minutes. You've recently done our will. Thank you very much. Yes. I asked Dave to do some work for me in one of my clients' houses. It was move a plug socket and add a plug socket to a cupboard so they could put their microwave in the cupboard. He went in, great, no mess. The clients thought it was absolutely fantastic. Didn't even know he'd been there. It was so clean, tidy, and done really well. Blake, do you have a sleeping bag in a bag for a DV? How soon could you get it to somebody? Okay, right, I'll have a quick word with you after the meeting. Welcome, Chris, great to see you. Hopefully we'll see you again, and welcome Aidan to the meeting. And that's, yeah.
I was getting all excited.
Oh, sorry, that was Dave.
Thanks, Vince, for your educational stuff. Perfect. Aidan, you'll take this. Brilliant. I need to have a chat with you about Marvel. Need to update it. Last time I've done it, children were babies. Leanne, one-to-one last week. Thank you very much. Welcome, Chris, as well. If you get accepted, I've got a couple of jobs that might sort of go. So, thank you.
Just on that, updating. If you move house, don't worry, you don't need to update your wills. Your name will have gone in and it should have your address, and the purpose of putting the address in is to identify you as the person who lived in that house on the date at the bottom of the document. So that's not a reason for updating, but obviously things
I think
like...
it's who was going to leave the kids with them and
Oh,
money,
that's
so
right.
now, my oldest is 18 now. So.
Yes, thank you for the money to Leanne. Business cards.
Thank you.
One-to-one with Ben. You don't need to go way down. Howard, thank you for the money for my Paul Direct. Craig, your brother-in-law.
And they're very nice.
Yeah, good. Thank you for the money to Howard for your brother-in-law. Something else we did for him. That was also very nice, apparently.
Yeah.
And thank you for the money to Howard. That's your stuff we did for you. Also very nice. And also thank you for the money to Fran, who was a member here for a little while. We just done her business cards again. So yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody, well done. Before you come back to your chair, let's give you a prize. 20-something referrals, so today's winner was Mr. Howard Burke.
Liz.
Love you, bye.
Right, okay. We've come to the end of the meeting, and I've come down here to give you all the opportunity to raise any point before I dismiss you. Anybody got anything they want to announce to the meeting?
Yeah, we're late.
Synergy meeting after.
Just to remind you, Crystal pays last call actually making the booking today. We have 5. It'd be nice if we could close up some weeks. So have a rethink. If you change your mind, please give me a call.
What day is that all about?
That is on the 13th of next month. Next month. Next month, thank you. At 5 o'clock, we'll go through a little afterwards, do so, and it's in Shaftesbury Avenue. Thank you, 22 to 32.
Right.
5 o'clock.
The Middleton Hall Lane speed camera is working very well indeed. Be careful out there.
Okay. Right, when I set off this morning, it was 5:30 and it was light, which is brilliant. I'm sending you out not only into the light but into the bright.